Hi everybody. This time I'm going to talk a very important aspect of Chinese language, pronunciation. Chinese language has a special feature which is called tone. There are four main tones. Four tones can be pronounced like music. If you miss the tonal part, people don't understand you. So it's very important when you speak Chinese word, you have to emphasize tone. A tone is almost like music, so you have to sing the word. Okay. There's the word which is very, very easy to get confused because there are many Chinese characters which are read the same tone. There's a word called shi. Now, shi is a little bit different from si. Si is English, is, si. It has a bit, tongue curled. You will curl your tongue. It's called shi. Now, the word that you will learn, the phrase you learn from Chinese, the first phrase may be teacher. In Chinese, 老师. Lao means old. That is a respected form. Shi, teacher, 老师. Good morning, teacher, 老师早. Now, quite a few words are pronounced the same like shi, and I'm going to explain some way that will help you remember and to make sense out of it. First, please follow me pronouncing the word shi. No hissing. You curl your tongue a little bit and pronounce the same like you read S. S. But here you have to curl your tongue. It becomes shi. Now don't miss it because it's very important. Otherwise, your teacher don't know you're calling your teacher. 老师. Now, some words pronounced exactly like shi. Now, shi is the first tone. Now, four tones in Chinese, if pronounced differently, will be like shi, 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 shi. Shi, 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 shi. First one is shi. You can almost sing it like, mi, shi, re, mi, shi. Shi has no music. And shi is something like, like something drop on the floor. It's a stress. Very short and abrupt. Shi. That is the fourth tone. So the first tone is shi. The second shi. The third shi. The fourth tone shi. Shi, 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 shi. This time I'm going to talk only the first tone, shi, which means teacher, shi, 老师. Now, I also will explain some words which pronounce exactly like shi. And if you say it, just one word, people don't understand what you say. You have to say 老师 so they know you are talking about teacher. If you just say shi, it can mean, for example, a dead body, 尸体, or lost, something you lost, 失 or defeat, 失败 means defeat. So in Chinese, you always have to read phrase rather than single word, because single word doesn't make sense at all. Like this time, just the word 诗, there are quite a few characters or words which are read exactly like teacher, 师, but you have to say 老师 in order to let people know that you talk about teacher. Otherwise, it can be a dead body, corpse, or defeat, lose, 失, or to carry out, or poetry, 诗, 写诗, you write poetry, or it means wet, a little bit damp, wet. 这里很湿, here, this is a little bit wet, not very dry. And it also can mean fly, as lice, rouse or fleas, something that bite our skin. The little flies, they can make you very uncomfortable. Now, why lice, fleas, these two horrible things are read like dead body or a teacher, or means lose, defeat, or even poetry, or even very wet. They all pronounce the same, and chances are they may have some elements of meaning which link them together. For example, now let me start talking about the first word, 狮. It can also mean lion. 狮子, lion. Lion is not tiger. It's pronounced exactly like teacher, 狮. Now, the word 狮 is a teacher. It can also mean a division in a military group division. Originally, the word 狮 refers to a division consists of 2,500 armed soldiers. Why a teacher becomes related to armed soldiers? Because in ancient time, the person who can lead 2,500 armies must know music, must know laws, must be able to know a lot of things in order to lead the soldiers. And sometimes he probably knows heaven, knows the weather, knows element, everything. So this person is considered a teacher. So a teacher is a person who can lead 2,500 people division. So in the army, the division leader is called 师长, and 师长 can also mean teacher. But you have to refer the word in the context, otherwise people do not know. Of course, most of the time we know teacher, we don't know army division leader. So people will think probably you're talking about teacher, 师长, or the 老师. Now, lion is also pronounced the same like 狮. 狮子. 老虎 is tiger. 老虎, tiger. 狮子. Why lion becomes a teacher? It's written almost like a teacher. It's as a radical of dog on the left side and the teacher on the right side. Lion, originally, China did not have lion. Chinese believe a certain kind of a strange animal. The dragon has 9 children. Dragon is a very important animal in Chinese, which was not life, real. It's imagined, but Chinese believe lion lives in the ocean, and he has 9 children. And the 5th children is very, very peculiar. It like to smoke marijuana and sit, meditating. So sometimes we will consider this animal as if, it is like an incense pot. And incense pot is very, very honorable. So probably because of this, it is considered a teacher. So interesting, Chinese consider lion as a teacher. Now, This lion originally was pronounced as the fifth son of the dragon's 9 children. And he is supposed to be very wise. And his name has a little bit, to do with shi. Originally, it's read like Shuanni. Shuanni sounds like, sour mud. You don't have to worry too much about how to write it, because this animal, most Chinese don't know much about this animal. The fifth child of the dragon king. We usually think the dragon is the dragon king. He lives in the ocean and he rules the whole world, control the temperature, the weather. And he's the fifth son. Is called Shuanni. And people who the first time saw something that was brought from Persia or some foreign countries, the first time they saw this animal, they didn't know what it is. So people say, this probably is the fifth son of the dragon king. And then they start calling it Shuanni. And then, afterwards, people who didn't catch it try to read very slowly or fast what it is. They simply just give a simple answer, just say, shi. Sounds like swan, shi. But I believe the reason it was pronounced shi is because this animal looks very, very honorable and wise. So it becomes a teacher. So remember, Chinese lion is written with a radical of dog, which usually represents any animals which, like dog, Lots of animals has this radical of dog. And then dog combined with teacher becomes lion. In the future, you read Chinese dictionary and you will remember what I said. You will immediately know how to write and then know how to remember it. Remember, lion and the teacher are pronounced the same. Now, when you first see a teacher, you say 老师, people will know that you mean a teacher, because a lion is never referred to as 老. Only tiger has the privilege of being addressed as 老, so we Chinese say 老虎. 老虎. When you say 老虎, it doesn't mean that tiger is very old. I think a tiger referred to as 老虎 has another cultural connotation, because Chinese has lived more close to tigers than lion. Lion was imported from overseas. Okay, now I already mentioned few words. Remember? Dead body, 尸体, and lose or defeat, 失败, defeat. Something that, anything that is not winning is called 失. So, it's very easy to refer to dead body as lost, because life is lost. But why teacher is also lost? 失? Well, this I don't know. Because word pronounced the same, not necessarily has the same meaning, but you can always, draw some similar elements. And why the word wet, damp, is also read as 诗. And the poetry, well, I think poetry is very easy in this category, because poetry, if it is written, people like to write poetry, right? Chinese love to write poetry. I tell you, every Chinese man of letter, scholar must write poetry. In the imperial examination, if you want to be the official, you must be able to write poetry, and the examination is about poetry. Some scholars, men of letter, is said to have written 10,000 poems in his life. So it's very important now. If a person who can produce 10,000 poems in his life, I think it is very annoying, almost like flies, fleas, lice, the animal that suck our blood. That makes sense, right? So we call the lice, flies, fleas, 狮子. Now, it pronounced almost like tiger, or pronounced like I think they are harmful. They can cause more harm than tiger. Anyway, they are called 狮子. Now, if you say 我身上有很多虱子, I have a lot of fleas in my body, people will know that it is not lion, right? Now, last word I'm going to finish. Wet is also pronounced as 湿. Okay. Why wet is 湿? I don't know. Maybe the world can be divided into dry and wet. People don't like to be in the wet. So if you are in the wet, like you wet your pen, you lose your face. So 湿 also means lose. Now, I want to conclude what I said. Now, let's repeat. 湿, it can refer to dead body. It can refer to lose. It can refer to carry out. This I didn't talk too much. And it can refer to teacher. It also is poetry, and it is also wet. And it is, of course, lion. And then finally, is lice or fleas, the most horrible thing in your body. Good night.